We're going live soon. And we're live.
Hey everyone.
Hello. Hello. Welcome back to Today in Quarantine, everybody. I forgot to fix the view, but there we go. All right. Well, today is Sunday, March 22. It's officially been I don't know, how many days has this been since this all started? It's like, here in Nebraska, it's probably been about a week since everything just kind of went crashed down or started to crash down. But I guess in the world, it's probably been like 3 months. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And consequently, we are finally, or the United States is finally going into lockdown.
Yeah, we have about 3 different states. We got California, we got New York, we got Missouri, or is it Kansas City? One of the two. I always get them confused. Kansas City is going on lockdown officially on Tuesday. And to me, this is great news. To me, this is saying people and authorities are taking it serious because it is serious. If you haven't read any of the testimonies, they say it's like 7 degrees of separation. Well, I have a friend who just lost her aunt to the coronavirus. I have another friend who has a friend in the hospital. He's a lawyer. He's 39. And, he just kind of tells the story in detail. I actually posted it on my Facebook page. He just goes through, it's almost like a diary detail of, what he thought wasn't a big deal, what other people told him wasn't a big deal, turned out to be a very big deal, and he's still in the hospital. Protect yourself, protect others. And I just can't stress it enough. I don't know why we're still hanging out. If you have to be somewhere, do 6 feet apart. Anyway, enough of that. Did I tell you, Renae?
What? Tell me.
That I was having trouble breathing. I think I've told you this probably in the first show that I was having trouble breathing. Mm-hmm. Well, last night it kind of reached its max. I could not breathe. Have you ever been to a place? Have you ever had pneumonia?
I have not had pneumonia, but I know it's. I know people who have had pneumonia. But go ahead and tell me about this.
It's terrible. So last night, I don't believe I have pneumonia. I don't have any other symptoms. I have chills. Don't worry. I'm on supreme quarantine right now. I'm in my house. I'm in my room, actually. My kids and my husband have quarantined me to my room. Praise the Lord for the internet and for computers. But anyway, worst came to worst. Finally was able to get a hold of the weekend doctor. I told him all my symptoms. He seemed a little like, I don't know if I should prescribe you medicine since I don't really know you. I'm like, but I've been going to this doctor for a year, for the main doctor for a year. Anyway, he prescribed me some serious steroids. I've never been on stronger steroids in my life.
Good for you, because hopefully that's helping, right?
It is. I can breathe a little bit better. I took my asthma pump like 15 times last night. And just watching different things and reading, this virus is an attack. It's like pneumonia 10 times. It eats away at your lungs. You feel like you're suffocating. And if you've ever almost drowned, have you ever almost drowned, Renae?
No, not that I can recall. No.
Well, if you've ever almost drowned, that's what an asthma attack feels like. But then when you mix it up with allergies or you have pneumonia, it's like a prolonged drowning. It's like you're drowning every other second in breathing. So it's really difficult. So, I don't have autoimmune disease. So I can only imagine what this virus is doing to people who have autoimmune diseases. But even if you have asthma, you need to protect yourself. You need to protect your kids, because even people without asthma are having their lungs attacked. Anyway, this is not what the show is about. Don't feel sad. Let's make people happy.
Well, Oksana just had some comments here. She said, hey, get those gains, because now you're on steroids. But maybe not. Maybe hold off on those gains. Thanks for that, Oksana.
Yeah, you're mad funny, Oksana.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Well, yesterday in quarantine, when we were talking on the show, my brother was here, and I don't know if you people at home or people watching saw him sneaking right behind me that away yesterday. You might have noticed that. And so afterwards, I was like, "What were you doing?" And he's like, "Well, he has a snake, and he had the snake in his like hoodie pocket." And he was like, the snake pooped during the podcast, so I had to
That
like."
is the nastiest thing ever.
It was really gross because like later I could like smell it, and I was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "It was the snake," and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So today or yesterday in quarantine, that was kind of what was happening in my life. But
You had poop.
shout
You
out
had
to
poop. Poop in your house in a non-bathroom area from a snake.
yeah, it's a good time.
Okay.
He owes me a lot, but it's okay because I guess.
What was it? So last night, I don't know what time it was. I text messaged Renae, and I was like, Renae, have you watched the movie Contagion? I had been hearing people talking about this movie, like on my timelines, on my IG. I'd never watched it. I don't, whatever. But then last night, I was like, I wonder what it's about. What is the matter? How did Hollywood predict this like 9 years ago? What?
That is actually probably the wildest thing that I think has happened. Or like, because there's not only that, but there was something else. There was some other like media from a long time ago. Oh, there was a book written by like somebody like George Orwell or something. And it was like, oh, in 2020, this disease will come about. And I was like, whoa. But I watched the trailer for Contagion after you told me about it. So I was like, no, even just watching the trailer, I was like, this is like panic attack worthy stuff.
Yeah, it was. I literally, my husband and I just kept looking at each other like with our mouths open, like. And when they mentioned the word social distancing, first it started in China, then they said social distancing, then people just started to die at rapid paces. We were just like, what is happening right now? So of course, we had to watch the end to see what they predicted the end to be. It sucks because a lot of people passed away, but the ending, turned out that it would eventually come to an end. So I guess that's a good prediction. 5 feet apart. Actually, Contagion, Jocelyn, Contagion in the movie says to be 10 feet apart. So maybe we should listen to Hollywood and be 10 feet apart instead of 6 feet apart. Anyway, I'm not endorsing this.
I have a friend, Charmaine. If you, she's doing her master's in public health right now, and she was like, even though this is all kind of a scary thing, I'm actually very intrigued because she's like the stuff that they're talking about in class is playing out in the world right now. So,
wow.
She was like, yeah, she's just like looking at the stats and stuff and being like, oh wow, this is super interesting, like how this is all spreading so quickly.
Talk about hands-on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, was that a pun? I don't know if that could be considered a pun. On another note, I want to talk to you guys real quickly about remembering your friends with mental health. It's such a hard time because everyone has to be isolated or within their own the same 10 of people over and over. And sometimes you can get lonely. Sometimes you can still be in a group of 10 or under and still feel kind of like we're by ourselves. Don't forget to call them. You know who they are. The people that struggle with people. And I think that's pretty much everyone right now. I feel that everyone's kind of going through some kind of level of mental health, whether it's fear or high levels of anxiety. Pick up a phone, people. I mean, this Instagram stuff, this Facebook Live, it serves its purpose, absolutely. But there is nothing like getting a phone call and having people talk to you about just how your day is going or things that happen in their lives where it's more personable. I received a phone call from Caleb Hackison and from Robert Leslie the other day. And it was just so refreshing to hear people's voices. First of all, I miss all of you UC people so much. It's like a desert out here because there's like nobody. And we already live in cornfields, so there's like corn balls,
corn tumbleweed, just like kernels floating around.
Corn tumbleweed. Yes, definitely that. Guys, what are you doing? I see. What's 1984, Oksana? I don't know what that means. Oh, it's one of my fave books. Oh, I thought you were referring to something in history. I will have to look into that. I don't know what that is. Do you know what 1984 is? Oh, never mind. Strength and Isolation.
Oh yeah, there you 1984 is one of the books by George Orwell, and I don't think like I was talking about George Orwell earlier, but it wasn't necessarily that it was George Orwell's book. I think it was just one of the books similar to that. What I was talking about. Oh yeah, George Orwell. Strength and Isolation. Oh, this is a sermon. So if you guys have some time, check out my friend Sally's sermon. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but she preached yesterday at her church in Alaska, in Sitka City, Alaska. So
She has what custody in Alaska?
she preached yesterday at her church in Alaska.
Oh,
Yeah, in Sitka.
that's awesome, from Alaska. I wonder how Alaska is dealing with it. I was looking at some of the like statistics and kind of seeing where the major impacts have been. And it's we're Nebraska, Kansas City, kind of in America. We're still kind of on the like less than 100 people who have been infected. So that's great news. Let's keep it that way, folks. Stay home. One of the things that I've seen that's kind of like trending right now on Facebook and IG is the need for masks, right? We don't have enough masks for our medical professionals. They're reusing the same disposable masks, for day after day. And there seems to be like such a great crowd response with like seamstresses. They're like, hey, let's get together and sew these, medically recommended, or, they have to be very specific on how they're made if you're going to make them at home. As a matter of fact, my husband came home and said, I don't know if he would be considered an essential worker. I would deem that he is. He's a technician and he helps people with who are in wheelchairs. And he's like, yeah, babe, we don't have any face masks either. Or they don't have any right now. So he's kind of just like reusing the same one. And what are we going to do, folks? So let's empower you. If you know how to sew, if you know how to be a seamstress, I'm sure you can find online somewhere like what the requirements are to make these face masks. So if you have this talent, like use it for good, because people really need it right now.
I actually saw a video of somebody who created their own mask using some toilet paper, or not toilet paper, because that's
I was like, I don't know if those qualify.
Paper towel. She used some paper towel, rubber bands, and staples, and essentially she like folded the paper towel into like a fan, and then she like stapled 2 rubber bands to the ends, and then she had her personal mask. And I mean, it will not work on probably not a medical level, but probably just for old Joe Schmo walking around. And you'll be pretty good. Oh yeah, Teresa saw the same person doing it, probably.
Oh no, Oksana, don't be triggered. One of the things that I read yesterday that I was like, for a long time we had been hearing that, that COVID couldn't be passed along through animals. And for the first time, there's like been a dog that's been like diagnosed with COVID, like mind blown. Like this, no, don't give me that scary face. But yeah, that's what I read yesterday. And it's pretty crazy.
That's
so insane. I don't know. Keep your pets safe too, y'all.
That's insane. Like, oh, okay. Kendra says the homemade masks aren't effective though, because this virus requires an N95 mask, and that's the issue that we're running into. Kendra, if do you know if those are if like the just person walking down the street, if they can make themselves one of the homemade masks and then kind of leave the rest for everybody else to use instead? Let us know, because maybe like we just need to stop buying masks. Like, what is the point of us buying masks as non-healthcare people? That's my question.
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. So guys, what have you been doing? And today in quarantine, right? We're talking about what we've been doing in quarantine. What have you been doing? What did you do today, Renae, in quarantine?
I made a really good breakfast burrito. I think I talk about food a lot on the show. But
it's okay. I love food.
Breakfast burrito. It was like eggs, rice, and cilantro, and then a really good tortilla. So that was pretty good. And I've just kind of been moping around. I was playing a bit of video games, and that's kind of it. Let's see. Andrew watched some movies and made some food. Same, Andrew, same. Although I think you kind of get to a point where you feel like you've seen everything on Netflix. So you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Or everything that you see on Netflix.
But I go on TikTok sometimes to see what people are doing. Like that's how I stay current. That's how I still trendy, with my young adults and my kids. What's happening in TikTok? Everyone's just dancing on TikTok. What's that about? But you know what? It's actually pretty cool because I can't do most of the dances anymore. But had you hit me up when I was 21, it would have been a different story. That's just not the story now. Today, what I did in quarantine, let me tell you what I did in quarantine today. Nothing.
Oh, nice.
I legit did nothing. Because I wasn't feeling well. I ended up taking my meds, and then they're like, don't operate heavy machinery. And I was like, oh, can't touch the stove. So
Nice.
okay, I touched the stove, but just to see if it was hot. And what else did I do? Yo, if it wasn't for this show, like legit, I was like, it's Sunday, I'm not gonna take a bath. But then I was like, let me take a bath, let me put my face on, let me look, you know, like I care about myself, at least for today in quarantine. So thank you, people watching, and for this show that's motivating me to get up and get dressed and do something with myself.
Honestly, like that's part of the biggest struggle for some people, and like I know for people with mental health issues like depression or anxiety, like on a regular basis, it's a hard thing to get up. And maybe we're just kind of experiencing part of that. I don't struggle with those things, so it's kind of like, oh, kind of peering into your world here, like just getting up to do something and finding like a purpose in life for today. So there's that.
So what do you guys been doing? What have you done today? I know Mr. Reed responded saying that he watched movies. Oh, Teresa, you actually got dressed because someone was coming over to pick up 2 loaves of bread. You making bread, girl?
Oh man.
Do you deliver? Teresa, do you deliver bread?
That's a good question. We need to know. Inquiring minds need to know, Teresa.
Yeah. I did go to Le Courtier. I'm not French. I don't know if I said that right. When I had to take my dog Frisco to go see the vet, and I got 3 baguettes, and they're life changers. I love fresh made bread. I used to make it way when I was living in the country and like grinding my own wheat, but not anymore.
Wait, were you real grinding your own meat? Because that would
that would be pretty awesome if I was grinding my own wheat. No, I did not grind my own wheat, but I did buy grounded flour from the supermarket that was organic. So, you know, I was a little posh back then. And I did make my own bread, but I was never consistent. My husband always says, Gua, you make something different every day, and you have for the last 13 years. And he's 100% correct. I never make the same thing twice, baby.
I feel that, like, I'm like, man, I'll make something. I'm like, man, that was really good. And then I'll try and make it again, and it fails every time.
I'm sorry. But you made something good. Tell the people what you made. If you don't follow her on her IG, you need to follow her because she be making some dope food. What'd you make? Tell the people.
So yesterday, my brother came over, like I said, and I was like, what am I going to feed my brother? And one of my friends on Instagram had made like shepherd's pie, like things. I was like, I'm going to make some Jamaican patties. And for those of you who don't know, it's almost like an empanada, but I don't know what the real difference is. But so I made some broccoli and cheese and peppers patties. You basically just like saute up whatever vegetables you want. I added some cheese in there. You make some dough, but instead of just making just a normal salt and water and flour dough, you add in some curry and some cumin to mix it all up and make it pretty good. Bake that thing for 20 minutes, and boom, you've got a great patty. Contact me for that recipe.
Yeah, that looks really good. I don't make any type of patty. I don't make any patty. I could make patty, but then I could just buy it from Renae. So why do it? No.
Maybe once this is all over, I'll set up shop.
Sure. Have you heard? I haven't gone into detail or in terms of reading it, but have you heard about Kindle? Have any of you tried Kindle? They said that they're giving like there's a whole bunch of books that are free, audiobooks, reading books for you to like, since you have so much time in your hands now, and you're, not secluded, you're not socially distancing, you're just physically distancing. But now you can take advantage of this time to read. Have you guys checked any of that out? Are there any good titles out there? I haven't checked it, so I don't know.
In other news, if you go online and you can see this is the Libby app, Libvy, and that is an online library. You can, if you live in Lincoln, or I think it connects with a ton of libraries around the country. So if you live anywhere, you can connect with your local library and get free audiobooks and free ebooks to read online. And I had gotten a book off of there, and then I went to the library and I saw it in person, and I was like, I'll just get the one in person. Have I finished the book yet? No, but we're working on it.
Should have stuck with Libby. Yeah, I actually finished. Well, I'm halfway through a book on Libby. That's true. That's a great resource, guys. Go to Libby. But there's this book by, what is his name? He is. Oh, I wish I had it on my shelf. I wonder if it got returned. Have you? And this is kind of like for anyone really who's kind of like into statistics. Aziz Ansari. Have you ever heard of him? He has a book out called Modern Romance. Okay, if you know Aziz, okay, I'm not necessarily endorsing him. I'm endorsing the statistics in the book because he does, have quite a potty mouth, even in this book. But the statistics are really intriguing in this book in regards to, how people used to meet up and date back in the 1900s to the way that we meet up and date now. So anyway, I won't spoil the details for you, but if you want to go and kind of listen to this, again, you can go find it for free on Libby. It's really good. I'm sure at this point there's like tons of holes on it, but you never know, so try it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's the thing about books and libraries. There's always a book somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think the whole world is probably checking out Libby right now, but there's still a book that you can read because that's just the way the library works.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope they keep those books coming. I don't even know, is our local library open? Is your local library open, or have they officially shut down too and are just doing everything online?
I don't know about the Lincoln libraries. I haven't checked lately, but last week a coworker of mine told me that if you go to the library, they've extended their book returns until like May 1st. So
that's great.
So yeah, so you don't even have to worry about leaving your house until May 1st because you don't want to rack up those library fines because they get expensive.
Mm-hmm. They do actually. Is there toilet paper at Super Savers or Walmart yet? I haven't been out, but obviously I'm quarantining myself. But is there toilet paper? Are you out of toilet paper? Raise your hand if you're out of toilet paper. You still have?
I still have some. But maybe the solution is, I was listening to a podcast this morning and this guy was like, yeah, you know what? I just gave up on toilet paper and I installed a bidet in my bathroom.
That's some smart thinking, y'all. Get a bidet. Yeah, in the beginning when the toilet paper was running low, for some of you who are moms or who have a mom or who know moms, after they give birth, they're usually sent home with like this kind of like squeezy type bottle, and it's like for self-cleansing. It's like a self bidet. And all the moms like on my Facebook page were like, don't worry, I'm prepared. And they would take out their bottle that they received from the hospital after they gave birth. And they're like, no toilet paper, no worries. I have my, handheld bidet. So there's that option too, if you run out of toilet paper. There's also tissue, right?
That's true.
Or hand towels. You just got to wet the hand towels first. Okay, or else that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that would hurt a lot.
Just saying. Just trying to give you some helpful tips. Renae, how are you keeping cool? Like, what are you doing now? We know that things are just getting real. Lincoln itself hasn't even reached its peak yet. What are you doing to keep calm and to keep cool and to keep encouraged?
I am limiting my time on social media and what I consume on social media. I'm trying not to look at a lot of statistics right now because that's kind of when I start to get anxious about stuff, is when I'm like, oh yeah. So I'm doing other things besides social media, or trying to at least. Sometimes it's just bad habit, you're like, oh, Instagram. But I'm trying to stay away from those things. Talking to some friends, just trying to keep positive. That's kind of how I'm staying cool right now. I'll probably have to, incorporate some other things. I've been playing my guitar a lot, playing a lot of music because I've got a bunch of instruments in my house, and just trying to figure out what my next project will be. So,
are you guys working on any projects, those out there in not virtual reality, online? Are you guys working on anything? Have you challenged yourself to anything? Like, you're going to learn how to make garlic knots or true New York City pizza?
If you make true New York City pizza, please let us know, because we are I'm less of a pizza snob than Gua is, but we're pretty picky about our pizza.
We will even break quarantine to go get your pizza. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to break it. But you can leave it at my door if you make some good New York City pizza.
Yeah. Let's see. Oksana's working on some programming stuff. Nice, Oksana. What are you programming these days? And while she's answering that, Teresa said the libraries are closed, but they will bring books out to you if you pre-order one. So that's awesome.
Really? They're doing door-to-door service too?
That's awesome.
Wow, this is going to change the face. Like I don't think everything will change, but once this quarantine is done, I mean, just the way that we do business is going to change. You know,
sure.
From schooling to the way we pastor, to the way our libraries function, to the way restaurants do delivery. I mean, like everything is going to change or have some difference. It's going to take on a different look. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
nice. Maybe more convenient.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the world after COVID-19. Maybe we'll just have to keep going with our podcast and be like, today out of quarantine or something like that.
We're coining that. That's ours. No one take it. Well, I don't know why I'm doing this. But that's ours. Anyway.
All right. Well, let's see what some people are doing. Oksana's doing programming. Andrew is having to finish up his school's yearbook because I think he's a yearbook teacher and publish it this week. Wow, that's insane.
That is crazy. Are they still publishing things now?
Yeah, that's the real question.
People in warehouses? Wow.
That's interesting. Kendra is taking advantage of the hiking opportunities in Utah because, she lives in a beautiful place. If you don't,
are you in Utah, Kendra?
Oh man, if you ever seen her stories, it is a beautiful part of Utah that she lives in. Wow. She's also cooking, lots of cooking and studying because that nursing life is not a joke. And programming, Oksana's programming an updating system and it's version control. I have no idea what that means, but good on you.
Do you know that I've been to Utah? I went to Utah one time, 2 years ago for a retreat. And this guy that we had just met, this is not a rule of life. Don't go with strangers to the mountains that you've just met. But he worked for the legitimate organization that we were there for. And he was like, I'm going to take you to these hot springs. They're just 30 minutes this way. That man was a liar. It was a 2-hour hike. And it just kept going and going and going. But you know what? The journey was worth it. Because by the time we got to where these hot springs were, it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I've never seen misty blue, aqua blue, hot springs with a waterfall in the back. It was I didn't expect this out of Utah. So Kendra, if you know what I'm talking about or where this is, tell me again, because I don't even remember the name of where I was, but I would be willing to take a whole bunch of young adults there. And you could lead out, Kendra. Yes, this sounds like a plan, but it was beautiful.
Oh man. Yeah, I went up to Moab, to Arches and Canyonlands, and I think Bryce and Zion. Yeah, those are all in Utah. And those are probably the prettiest parks and just places that I've ever been to. Utah is definitely slept on. That's awesome.
Wow.
Kendra said, haha, that's always a lie. I have yet to find hot springs because every time we go, it's way hidden.
Okay. Where was I? What is the capital of Utah? I feel like I can't.
Salt Lake City?
Salt Lake City. It was 30 minutes from Salt Lake City, whatever park is around Salt Lake City. And then from there, it was a 2-hour hike. Okay. Somewhere into the middle of nowhere. And I mean, we were climbing on cliffs that it was 2 feet of just ground. And then if you were to slip, you'd fall to your death. I don't know why I signed up for that. I'm an old lady with 2 kids. I shouldn't be going on these death trips, but I did, and it was great.
I mean, sometimes those are the best opportunities to take it. Just going on adventures. That's true. Well, we've had, I think this is probably the most participation we've had so far, which is awesome. Thank you guys for commenting and just giving feedback and stuff. What are some things that you would like us to talk about on Today in Quarantine? Because we're looking for conversations and looking for things to talk about. And if you can help us out with that, we'd be eternally grateful. So thank you. So think about that, type that in, because there's a 30-second lag on this. You're not going to hear it until another 30 seconds after I say it.
Yeah, and just one last plug. I want to make a plug. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., our wonderful pastor, Michael Paradise, is going to be leading out in family worship. So if you want to participate, it starts at 10 a.m. at the College View Church, a Facebook Live to join in there. And of course, tomorrow we'll be back at 4 p.m. with Today in Quarantine. And additionally, guys, if you are looking for someone to talk to, if you're still looking for some counseling, if you're looking for Bible studies, all the pastoral staff is here. We have no problem with connecting with you over Zoom or over telephone. We want to pray with you. We want to read the Bibles. We want to hear your questions. We want to answer them. So our work hasn't stopped. We just do it in a different place now, and that's via Zoom. So don't be afraid to give us a call.
Yeah. All right. Well, friends, Oksana gave us a suggestion to talk about the weather, so I'll give you a quick weather report of what's happening here in Lincoln. It is currently cloudy. I'm staring at the brick wall of my neighbor's house, but it's currently cloudy and maybe like 42 degrees. I could go check, but I probably won't because we're in quarantine and I could leave my house, but again, I probably won't. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you have any suggestions or comments or just want to say hi, leave a comment over there. And
where's this? I know you keep doing this, but where is this?
That it looks like on my computer that's where the comment section is. So I'm hoping that it's
like,
on.
Why don't you do this? This is where they are on my computer.
Oh, I don't know. I'm like looking at Facebook right now and it's over there. So maybe it's there.
Yeah.
Maybe you're watching it somehow and the comments are up there. Or maybe it's down here.
Maybe.
This feels like a kid's song, like inside, outside, upside, downside, happy all the time. So
I've yet to master that song.
What? We'll have to do that tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, Mr. Pittenger, good to see you.
Hey, Tim.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's 45 degrees. Thank you, Teresa, for that update. Appreciate it. Somewhere it's 42 degrees, but not here in Lincoln. All right. Well, have a great day, everybody. Remember, stay inside or stay in your general housing vicinity. Go outside and get some fresh air, but don't go somewhere else. Okay? Stay safe. Stay well. And we'll see you tomorrow in quarantine. Bye.